Everything. It's been 2 weeks now that I didn't record anything. In fact, I was in a dilemma that to make a new song or something like that. That's why I did a little bit. But today, all said, we're going to talk about a new Torah. It's called Novach. Novach means basically it's a story about Noah. But there is a lot of in-depth Torah that we are going to listen or we are going to hear for upcoming 2 or 3 weeks. I'm going to stay in the same Torah with Noah, giving you a lot of information, a lot of insight every 10 minutes per episode, and definitely it will brush up your mind at least to focus in how the God is and what his plans are. And I was excited when I was going through this one, and I wanted to share you the same thing to you guys. Let's do this one. We all knew about the story of Noah and how he built the Noah's Ark and how he gathered all the animals and how the flood came and how the flood was being dry. And before that even, we just wanted to talk to a little more about this Noah before hitting that one. Why God wants to punish the land of the time of Noah by the water. So in the beginning, there was water, and God's Spirit was hovering on the waters. That's what the first word we read in the book of Genesis. It is from the book of Genesis we're going to talk about today. There is a parable that Jewish people, they say, it is not written in the Bible, and do not, come to me and say, why you are talking the parables which are not written in the book of Bible. But I will tell that we use sometimes, even in our own culture, that a lot of parables to explain certain things. In that way, there are some parables that is still existing in Jewish culture. We're going to see one of the parables. By the way, most of the parables, what Jesus taught was already existing in the Jewish culture. He didn't bring any new parable at all. All the parables Jesus taught was related to Jewish people. It was already existing there. So that, today we're going to see a parable. This is it. There was a man who built a palace, or a king who built a palace. And in that palace, he kept some of the mute people. That means people, those who are dumb and deaf, they cannot speak or anything. But the people were praising the king whenever the king goes in the palace. But all the praising was done by only through the sign language. So the king was so happy to see the sign languages that they were giving the praises. It's called muted praises because he set the mute people inside the palace. But while it was like this, king had an idea. How about if we get this much of praising from these mute people, if I'm going to keep all the faculties with the fully functional people, how could the praise will be? I wanted to see the wonder of this praise. So he brought in all the people, those who can function normally, talk, speak, or sing, and hear, listen. So he brought in that. But after some time, what happened? These people claimed that the palace belongs to them. It is not belongs to king anymore. So the king got angry, and then he removed back all the new people, those who brought in, and he set back things into the original form. This is a parable which is compared to the Novach version, and which is really correct, because that's why the same way God was enjoying the muted praise of the earth and all the other creations. For example, his spirit was hovering on the waters. That's very important. The praise was coming from the waters. He was enjoying the praise of the waters. the waters for Jesus, for God, was so important because he was loving those waters. Even in the waters, in the creatures inside the waters, the creatures inside the waters are completely dependent upon God. There's nothing that they can do it independently. Like the people, those or the living life live on the earth. So when God was enjoying the muted praise, and he thought that how about we make some new people with all the faculties like speaking and hearing, and let us see how the praise would be. But when he created the man or human beings and all other things, everyone rebelled. Everyone rebelled. They rebelled through tongues. They rebelled through, all the people, living stuff. So that's what happened. 10 generations were rebelling against God. They were not listening to anything. That's why God wanted to purify the whole earth, and he just brought the rain and the waters to purify or to give a reincarnation to the people, because he didn't expect that the people would be acting like this. He was expecting a praise. God was enjoying the muted praise. Today we think that sometimes, oh my goodness, the presence of God is coming when we sing so loud and shouting. God's presence is coming down. That's what we think. Folks, that's not the one. God was enjoying the muted praise. The praise which the ocean were giving. The praise the living life inside the oceans was giving. God was enjoying those praises. God loved those praises. Can you believe the animals inside, or the life inside the ocean or the waters, completely, it is just like, it's completely dependent upon God. There is no independence in this one. But whereas the people living on the earth, or the animals living on the earth, they can do anything they want. They can go anywhere they want to. But inside, it is tough. It's not easy. So the God's presence was completely inside the ocean, and all the animal inside was living and praising God in a muted way. The same way, it's like almost like a womb, a childbirth womb, because a child inside the womb is totally, completely dependent upon God. The embryonic fluid is surrounded by the child or the baby, and this child or the baby is totally dependent upon God's presence inside that one. That's what the way is telling, that he wanted the praise and the love like Moses did. Exactly to represent that, Moses was brought from the waters. He had the same typical praising style of the water creatures. Moses praised the God. God appreciated or accepted or authenticated Moses' praise. He expected us the same way that Moses was praising, a muted praise. Can you believe that Moses couldn't talk? Because he was a tammering mouth person. He enjoyed the presence of God than people speaking in the public. My folks, I'm telling to you, today if anybody is telling, oh, the God's presence is coming when we shout and sing, no. Imagine this, if you see the God's presence, if you're in the God's presence, you will be awestruck. Your mouth will never open. Your tongues will be going, sticking up to your upper, the roof of your mouth. I'm telling to you, it is not easy in front of God's presence to sing elaborate songs like this one. That's not right. God loves the muted praise. Moses couldn't able to talk correctly, speak to the word properly, but his praising was being accepted by Jesus Christ, by the God. This is the Novach portion. So because the people, because the life, because of the human beings were not listening or not obeying God's instructions, 10 generations after, God purified the whole land. The whole land was been raining for 40 days and 40 nights. Why the 40 days and 40 nights symbolically said? Because it has been said that it requires 40 cubic water to purify a man. So God wanted to purify the whole earth. He made the rain to pour 40 days and 40 nights to pour the whole earth and to purify the old generations. I can talk much more and much more in upcoming episodes. Today, think about this one, folks. Novach, there's a parasha. This is the Torah. In this Torah, God enjoyed the muted praise. The Spirit was hovering on the waters, enjoying the praise that muted creatures were giving. He expected the same from us. Same praise and worship like Moses. Moses was a muted man. He could not speak properly, but God enjoyed his praising. The same way that we request. It is not what we think today. God, folks, I'm going to give much more information in my upcoming videos. Until then, stay there. I'll come back and meet you. Have a blessed week.